Iowa Live.
From the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, welcome to Iowa Live. I am Lou, and it is time to learn something legal with our friend Kim Baer. Hello, Kim.
Good morning, Lou.
We are going to talk legal stuff here this morning, and once again, we're talking divorce.
Yes, once again, we're talking divorce, and so I thought it might be helpful for people to know what happens if one party owns a business, or perhaps the couple or one party owns a farm.
Okay, and you happen to be splitting up, and there's some certain things you need to keep in mind.
Yes. So the first thing you really have to remember is that in Iowa, it is equitable division, and what that means is typically 50-50, but the court has the authority and power to do whatever it thinks is fair, whatever it thinks is equitable. And so sometimes what you might think is fair or what I might think is fair is not necessarily what the court's going to do.
Yeah, because that's always the case. You have two different opinions.
Yes.
So what's the first thing we need to bring into the equation?
So with the farm and with the business, one of the first questions that we always ask a client when they come in is, was it owned prior to the marriage?
Okay.
Because do we need to kind of figure out what was premarital value and what was and then what's been accumulated during the marriage? And one of the things that we always want to remind people is that when you get married, anything you earn from the time you get married until the time you divorce is considered to be kind of marital property. So if it was owned, let's just take a business, if it was owned prior to the marriage, then we might want to look back at tax returns and things like that to see if we can find out what the value was at the time of the marriage, so we know if we can argue that there's an offset. Now, if it's been a long-term marriage, the court may say, I'm still just going to throw it all in the pot. I don't care that Lou, that you owned your business for 5 years before we got married, because we've been married 25 years, and it's really just fair. We're just going to throw it all in. But it's a case-by-case basis, so we just look at all those factors.
Okay, now speaking of factors, other factors when it comes to business or a farm would happen to be the debts that are on with the business or farm.
Yes, and we always want to look at the debts, and we want to see who's on the debt, because sometimes it's not that unusual. Like, let's say you have a business, but you might have a line of credit, and maybe I signed it, you know, even though I'm not involved in the business. So one of the things that we're going to do as part of the divorce is make sure we get me off that debt if we can.
Okay.
And so sometimes, let's say that you're going to keep the business and it's $100,000 of marital money that should be divided. So my half would be 50. We might do an offset. Maybe I'll get more money out of the house, or I'll take more money out of the bank accounts. Now, you always have to remember when you are exchanging or swapping, that you're swapping assets that are treated like kind. And what I mean by that is money out of a 401k might not be fair to me, because that's going to be taxed when we take it out unless it's a Roth.
Right, and again, that's a whole different set of rules.
It is. It's a whole different set of rules, you know, and we really like to depend on valuation experts, and so there's a lot of people out there that make a living doing valuations, and so that's the same with regard to the farmland, you know, maybe we'll get an appraisal. It's the same with regard to a business, farm equipment, those types of things.
Now, is it the same thing if, say, the farm or the business was inherited?
So that's a great question, Lou. So one of the things that we have to deal with if it's been inherited is we have to figure out, has it been a long-term marriage? Was it, so let's just say you inherit the farm, but we're married for 25 years and I'm helping to work on the farm.
Sure.
There's a chance then that the court might say, it's not fair to me because I helped work on the farm. Or let's say you inherited the land, but then we used marital money to build a barn or to build a house or to buy cattle or to pay property taxes. Typically in Iowa, gifted and inherited property is set off, but it's still kind of a gray rule with regard to factors, especially in a long-term marriage. In a short-term marriage, I think it's a little easier for the court. Like if we were only married 5, maybe 10 years, I think it's easier for the court to say what's gifted or inherited is going to go to you if it was from your family.
Now, say it was a farm and you have a cash crop coming in. How does that get evaluated?
Right. So, you know, there's lots of things that we look at when we're valuing a farm. We're going to look at the value of the land. We're going to look at the value of the crops that haven't been harvested. We're going to look at a lot of times farmers have, you know, grain in the bins.
Stored,
stored. We need to look at that. Sometimes people buy seed and things ahead of time, so that's worth some money. We need to look at equipment. We look at tax returns. We look at what's been depreciated. Do things need to be added back in. So farm divorces and business divorces are what we consider to be kind of complicated divorces, which is why, you know, if you have an attorney, you want to make sure that that attorney has experience dealing with those issues.
They could be complicated, or you can simplify your life by getting a hold of a quality attorney. If people want to get a hold of you, for example, Kim, how would they go about doing so?
Sure, just give us a call. We're always happy to help. 515-279-2000.
All right, just that simple?
Yeah, just that simple.
And you can start the process and try to eliminate the road bumps that could be ahead.
Yeah, we'll just try to help and try to walk you through it.
And that is great. Thank you so much for your advice.
Thanks,
And we will be right back. This is Iowa Live.